Hey everyone, Paul Sam. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to start the process of our Lancia 037 from Model Factory Hero in 12 scale. We're going to start the cleaning and sorting process of all the parts. Right, so as I just said, we are going to start the process today on the mighty Lancia 037 rally car. It's only a very short video, so we're going to go through cleaning up white metal quickly, checking off the resin, sorting all the parts out, and that's it. It's a boring, tedious part of building Model Factory Heroes, but it is a vitally important part of building them because if anything's damaged or missing, this is where you want to find out because it can take. Took me nearly 6 weeks getting those roll cage parts off the Lancia Delta, so it's well worth finding these bits now because you don't want to get to the large chassis piece on this and find it's damaged because that will hold your build up for God knows how long. So it's an important part of the process and time well spent. So if you've got a Model Factory Hero kit, take a day. It is going to take you a day to do. Clean everything up, check everything off, get it all sorted, and you're ready to start with the build. And it'll help with the build process. It'll make it a lot quicker. Right, so let's jump in and let's get started with some sorting. Right then, so my Model Factory Hero 112 Lancia Rally 037. We've got the kit, we've got a nice new book, we've got the Pro Scale paint, Lancia Bianco White. I've got another nice book as well, which I'll run through in the next video. And I photocopied the instructions. My local post office has done a full colour copy of it, so we can mark them to mark all the parts up about wrecking the originals. And if we go through the kit, we've got a whole range of resin, white metal, multimedia, pipes, tubes, springs, screws, the lot. You name it, it's in there. There's a full review of this from a few months back on the channel. You can go back and have a look. The resin, I'm just going around and inspecting every single piece of it. I'm looking for any short runs, short molds, any damage, any cracks, any broken pieces. Because if there's a time you want to find any of this, it's now. We don't want to be halfway through the build and find a damaged part and then have to wait weeks on end for them to arrive. So we'll just go around and just visually inspect everything. Take your time. Don't be afraid to have a good look. You're looking for any cracks, any imperfections, anything at all. Thankfully, this was all pretty clean. I'm just having a real good look around everywhere, checking all the corners, all the posts, everywhere. So you can get short molds where the resin hasn't quite hit the full edge of where it needs to go. So you get like a short run of the mold. Or you can get broken bits, cracked bits. So it's worthwhile going through and just checking everything. Now, thankfully, most of the resin is fairly straight. The bonnet itself is a bit bent. It's going to need a little bit of hot water to straighten it. But as you can see, the boot spoiler fits on well. There's no real visible damage anywhere. Obviously, it's all going to have to be flatted back and wiped clean. Use our Pro Scale degreaser on to get any nasties off. With resin, especially poured resin like this, there will be a mold release on it. So you need to go through and carefully degrease everything before you commit to any paint. But overall, looking around at all the resin, it's pretty good. Not bad at all. Like I said, the only real piece that's got any warpage to it is the front bonnet, as you'll see in a second. But all that looks good. So once you're happy, you visually inspect everything and literally go over every single piece. You can see there I'm looking at just where it needs bending. And once you heat this under hot water, it's very malleable. It's actually very easy to bend. This is probably the worst piece. But like I say, we're just looking for visual damage or anywhere where the resin's not quite fully molded properly. And if we look at this from the front, you'll see just how warped and twisted it is. It's not bad at all. Quick sniff. You've got to have a sniff, haven't you? Always have a sniff test. Always. And there we go. We have a look at that. And then this inner bulkhead piece as well. So I'm pretty sure I do show the twist in it, but I might be wrong. So the white parts are all going in the magnetic tumbler. So this is a magnetic tumbler that spins inside. The magnet spins. There's steel pins inside. I think mine are 5mm. You chuck a white metal part in with some water and a little bit of fairy liquid, washing up liquid, Dawn dish soap, wherever you call it where you're from. And then switch it on and it spins at various rates. As you'll hear, I've left the volume on so you can hear it. And there we go. And you'll see how nice and clean the water was. And just how quickly it goes black. It's almost instantly starting to turn black. And what this will do is all the pins will spin around inside via the magnet. And they'll impact the white metal and slowly polish away any imperfections. And it goes on a 30-minute cycle. This is half an hour later. So not only is the water filthy, but the water is red hot now as well. It gets hot from the action of the motor and the friction probably as well. And you can see just how well it's cleaned out those parts. And it's a case of sieving them out. So have an old bucket with a sieve that you're not going to reuse. Don't use the one out of the wife's kitchen drawer, or your kitchen drawer rather, to sieve them out. And any small parts like this are a bit of a nightmare. Is get your tweezers and just sit there and pick them out. It is a bit tedious, because I guarantee no matter how many you find, if you keep digging around, you'll find more. But the little parts do like to hide in there. Where I've got to the left is a jug of water. I'm just rinsing the larger parts off to get any pins out or any excess washing up liquid. But like I said, it's a tedious job this. It's a few hours of your day. It's probably take you 2-3 hours to do. But it's well worth doing. These tumblers are a worthy investment. They do clean the parts up. Not only from getting black all over your hands, it does clean the surface up a little bit. Makes them a bit more appealing to the eye. So it is time well spent, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm just rinsing off in the water, dropping them, and then popping them on the kitchen paper to dry. And then what we can do then is load another load in and let it go. So while that's doing another cycle, we can go through all the resin bits, and with a highlighter, we're going to mark off all the parts that we've got. So we're going through and mark off all the tyres, all the doors, all the other parts, etc. And then I have these storage boxes, which I use for my 1/24 cars. I'll probably use 2 or 3 of these on this kit, and we're going to take everything off this big sprue and pop them in here for safekeeping. So all the larger parts can lay nice and flat, like so. We can stack them up on each other. As long as they're flat, they're all pretty safe. And check them off as we go through as well. Like I say, I always think it's important checking off these parts. They're easy to miss. I've not had any parts missing as of yet, really. Keep all your clear parts in their plastic bags for safekeeping. And just look for any damage. Look for any cracks or anything that's damaged. And like I say, stack it all in your box nice and neat until you're happy with it all. So I've sped this bit up a little bit. I'll chuck a bit of music on, and you can watch me just chuck all these bits in here. As you can see, not a hope in hell of the body shell fitting in there, so it's getting kept in a separate box. Meanwhile, with some of the parts were tumbled, we're going to get some kitchen paper on the bench and just lay them all out. They're not in any order at the minute. I'm just laying them out as I see them. If I start to see parts that look similar, I'll try and bunch them together, because we've got the really tedious job now of going through the instructions from the very beginning to the end and finding all the parts for each and every stage. And I'm going to use a separate storage box with individual sections and compartments to piece everything up in its sections. And as we can do that, we know we've got each part for each section, and we know all the parts are there. So it's very boring. It's very tedious. It takes hours to do. Some of the parts look nothing like they should on the instructions, but trust me, it's worth doing. Probably a couple of hours in now, and we're on about step 6. And I'm just going through. The larger parts tend to be easier to find, so once you get them, tick them off and then put them in the mark section of your box. You'd mark section 6. And that way, when you know you come to the applicable section, you've got the part in there to go. But it is boring and tedious looking round. Like I say, the larger parts are easier to find. When it comes to these smaller parts, it starts to become a nightmare because, as I say, they don't all necessarily look like they should in the instructions. It starts to become really difficult. Obviously, some parts are handed as well, so if you ever got handed parts, make sure they are opposing or the same, depending on what they should be. And like I say, it's really tedious, it's really boring, but it's the first real look at the kit you're going to get, and it is quite interesting in places when you finally start to realise what these pieces actually are, because some of them, like I say, look nothing like you'd expect at all, especially on unusual cars like this. This was like a kit car, Group B car, very rustically built, shall we say. And yeah, it's interesting to see some of the build techniques they've used along the way when you're looking at the kit and the real car itself. But trust me, your highlighter and a couple of hours of your day are well worth spent doing this. That way you know nothing's missing at all. Also be aware that some of the parts are double parts and they're not always listed, so that's why it comes in handy putting any parts together that are similar. As you can see, once we start getting near the end, the box is starting to get full. You can see I've labelled the sections on top in pen for now, just so we can move things around should we wish. I think I'm about to do that now. Yet we can't rub that out. So that's going to be 10, that's nothing, and that's 11. So we don't need as big a section for some of the parts, but for some of them we do because they've got larger parts in. And here we go, with everything sorted. There's all the parts in there. There's all our resin and wheels in that box as well. All nicely stored, all nice and safe. Nothing can crush them, they can't get damaged. In this box is all the photo etch, the hoses, the decals, etc. This is underneath that box, and some of the larger parts of white metal that won't fit in. And there we go. That's our cleanup done. There we go then. Like I say, it's tedious, it's boring, but it's a vital part of these builds. It really is. Everything's now sorted in its box in the appropriate order. For each section, away we can go. We know we've got everything. We know there's nothing damaged, nothing's missing. It's all there ready to go. We haven't dirtied the old instructions. Dirty, that sounds bad, doesn't it? We haven't ruined the original instructions. The photocopy's been used to take all the parts down. So we've got nice clean instructions when we come to build it as well. And that's it now. We're cooking on gas. We're ready to rock and roll. So first at the gate, the Oldsmobile is finished. The videos are being uploaded soon for that. So if you're on Patreon, there's a 3-part series of that coming up. If you're on ISM, you get the single part of it. There's also the single part of the Super B to come up on ISM as well. If you're a patron, you've already got that at your fingertips, should you wish. The Aston Martin from Alpha, the Vantage, is there, nearly finished as well. So that'll be up soon once that's done. This is getting built next for me. This is the next kit starting. Brand spanking new out. A review's gone up on ISM of this today. And once the Aston's done, we're going on to this. The 037's getting started. It's going to be a tricky build because it's going to need a lot of pre-assembly and test fitting before we can commit to stuff. So it's going to be a bit of a challenging build, this one, but it's going to be epic. I've got that lovely book, and I bought a new Komakai, I think it is, reference book, which is beautiful. We'll look through that in the next video. So hopefully in a week or so, we can crack on and get this build started. But there you go. Thought I'd show you the process of cleaning and sorting and what have you, because I kind of missed it in some of the older videos a bit more in depth. So there we go. That's it. If you like early access to these videos, if you'd like to get the full build videos as well, become a patron down below. There's all different tiers you can choose from, applicable levels, and you'll get different benefits depending on the tier you pick. You get 4 weeks early access on the videos. You get access to all the full build videos, which don't go over on ISM. There's exclusive videos on there. There's an exclusive Facebook Messenger chat. There's a group. There's loads of different perks for being on there as well. And of course, there's links in the description to everything that's Pro Scale Paint, UMP Retail, all the social media of ISM. Myself is down there, my other channel, my scale mates. There's an email address you can touch me if you want to talk to me. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you sub. Make sure you click that bell notification to get notified of the latest videos. And if you're watching, give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. Love reading all your comments on the videos. And there we go. that's it. Thanks for watching today. Bit of a short video for me, I know, but part of the process of the build. So have a good day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.